Trace the history of those objects, the raw materials, the hands that assembled them, the ships, and you see a physical map of the entire world. Think about a typical Saturday. You head to a massive retailer like Walmart to buy jeans for $20. Afterward, you grab a burger at a drive-thru. In just those 3 hours, you've engaged with the United States, South Asia, and a vast international logistics network. This is globalization. It is the architecture of the modern world, making every citizen on this planet increasingly connected and interdependent. But we have to look closely at what that grip actually feels like. Does this deep global integration enrich us with new access? Or is it a force that erodes autonomy and turns distinct cultures into gray commercial mush? Let's pull the thread on those cheap $20 jeans and trace them all the way backward across the ocean. The supply chain begins here, where the raw cotton is physically grown and harvested in fields across Egypt. From there, those raw materials are shipped to entirely different countries, like India, to be spun into yarn on a mass industrial scale. This map of corporate brand ownership represents the work of transnational corporations, or TNCs. These are companies that own and coordinate operations in 2 or more countries. Look at the Walmart phenomenon. In 1994, this American chain entered Canada by purchasing 122 Woolco stores. In a single decade, it expanded to 288 locations across the country, rewriting the domestic retail landscape. This creates a divide. Customers gain access to cheap goods, a level of choice that historical kings and queens lacked. But critics point out that local shop owners are forced out of business, leaving behind dead retail zones and workers with low wages. This economic dimension forces a direct trade-off. Hyper-efficiency often comes at the expense of local community survival. Jeans are an American innovation, now worn on every continent. Globalization moves more than just physical products. It transfers society, music, media, and entirely new worldviews across borders. In the 1960s, Marshall McLuhan called this the global village, a planetary nervous system driving cultural exchange. We have to ask if this nervous system creates a woven world, or if these generic storefronts indicate the erosion of local identities. This comparison shows the annual revenue of a top-tier retail TNC against the gross domestic products of several developing nations. These corporations often wield more economic power than the sovereign countries they operate inside. Because our economies and cultures are locked together, our local governments are forced to coordinate their policies. International treaties and the need for disaster relief dictate the decisions made by political representatives in our own hometowns. The physical manifestation of this can be seen in the UN General Assembly Hall, one of the massive organizations where these transnational rules are written. Alliances like the G8 and NATO bind individual nations into collective agendas regarding trade, security, and aid. As these economic and military ties tighten, the ability for any one nation to act alone diminishes. Our local laws and safety are now tied to international consensus. This brings us back to the individual shopper in the retail aisle, holding that $20 pair of jeans in their hands. This diagram illustrates how the economic, social, and political dimensions of our world interlock. Interdependence means a single shopper is connected directly to the Egyptian farmer and the global assembly line. Choosing an imported good over a local producer is an economic vote sustaining this global architecture. The hidden cost of globalization is measured by the immense global responsibility we hold in our smallest, everyday choices.